by safety Tyler Venables. You'll go ahead with questions whenever you're ready.
I guess Tyler had 8 tackles, so why do you think you were so productive on Saturday?
I would say just kind of letting the scheme work for me, I would say. Not trying to do too much, you know, and just focusing on details.
I guess it's just a defense. Obviously, you have that Wake Forest game. Just a little bit of a shootout. What was the feeling after that game? How does that turn around to that next week?
You know, some of those games where you come down to the wire like that, I would say are necessary to build, because you can only really learn so much through success. And failure is a huge teacher. You know, you're forged through fire daily on this practice field, and then especially, you know, when the lights come on, that's a whole different element. And you know, matching routes and whatnot, you can only do so much in practice. And then so really getting that experience and getting some chemistry with our guys as a defensive unit is important. And so the trial by fire is necessary to build.
I think Coach Sweeney was saying that he didn't like the way you guys practiced on Tuesday, but then it really turned around. What do you remember from that Tuesday practice?
We just weren't as intentional as we could have been with fine details and you know, really doing the little things the right way. You know, from footwork to putting your eyes in your keys and whatnot. We could have been a lot more intentional. And of course, this past week was, you know, it was a strain. It was good. You know, everybody, coaches, scout guys, players, all bringing that real intent. You know, like squeezing every ounce of rep that we can get.
I guess did a coach say something, or did the players themselves say something after that Tuesday, or how did Wednesday, Thursday, Friday kind of turn into what?
You know, it was a mix of all of it. I think we've had some good leadership on this defense. You know, as a team, obviously as a whole, our offense has done a tremendous job, and DJ has done a great job of leading them. And then we've had a lot of younger guys defensively step up, you know, kind of bringing us together and say, you know, that's not what it looks like. And that Tuesday, that's not the standard. And then so really changing up on Wednesday. And you know, coaches pushing us too, of course.
I guess who were some of those younger guys?
I'm sorry?
Who would some of those younger guys be?
You know, I don't know if I can single out one guy. Our whole 2 deep has gotten, you know, tons of reps, you know, throughout these first 4 games. But yeah, we've that whole 2 deep has gotten tremendous rotation. You know, corners, we've had a lot of guys step up and play in critical moments. Safety, of course, too. You know, back we've got our 2 deep rotating constantly, and our D line, of course, as well. I would say our defensive line has been a real solid rock for us from a vocal standpoint and leadership. You know, that's definitely the older group on the defense. So they've all done a great job.
It's y'all in Syracuse that are the lone unbeaten teams on your side of the conference. So you guys are in the driver's seat. Just describe how it feels to have kind of the control at this point.
You know, I would just say we're kind of focusing down, doing what we're supposed to do. We don't really pay attention to you know, who else is undefeated, I guess. You know, we just kind of control what we can control, and that's a day-to-day basis thing. And you know, this week it's Boston College, so our focus is all on them. You know, whether we're 5-0 or 0-5, this is our game this week, and that's all we can really focus on.
What do you think was the biggest reason for the turnaround against Wake Forest, NC State? I think that's what Wake Forest did.
I'd go back to the trial by fire. You can only get so much experience through practice, and you know, I think our chemistry has really come together. You know, the past couple of games before the NC State game, I think we were playing really separate from each other from a position standpoint, and that kind of showed. And so this NC State game gave us a lot of chemistry. We really kind of flowed together, you know, from like zone drops to man coverage to fit and B gaps. Like, you know, I gotta trust my DN that he's gonna lever that ball in that B gap. And if I have 1 ounce of mistrust with him, you know, I'm gonna be hesitant down, and he's gotta have the same trust with me that he knows where I'm gonna be. And you know, you get that, like that slow mixture through game repetition.
But when you say like positions playing separate from each other, what do you mean?
Just not seeing the whole picture, you know, as a defensive structure. You know, if you really want to play like up here, you got to know what everybody else around you's doing, so you can be comfortable. You know, if I'm holding the curl in the trio set, I got to wait for that mic to come push so I can push through and take my flat route. But if I don't trust that he's going to push through, I'm going to be holding it and I'm going to be late. So just the chemistry and, you know, zone drops, man coverage, whatnot.
Tyler, I gotta say, sitting here listening to you, it sounds like, you know, listening to your dad for the last 10 years, right here. Is it, I know you made peace with, you know, your family situation a while ago. Is this any different for you that, hey, you know, my family who was usually here during football season is not here right now?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the past couple of years, you know, I don't know. I guess I didn't want it as much for myself as I do now.
Yeah.
Not that I didn't want it, but you know, it's just a different perspective seeing it. You know, I've kind of fallen in love with the philosophy and structure of defense too over the past since January. I'd say from a whole new perspective. I guess that's part of the reason why, you know, kind of be on my own.
Yeah.
I guess just as a locker room, you guys were 3-2 at this point in the season last year, to 5-0 now. How would you compare how you guys were feeling at that point to the way the locker room is now?
I would say last year we weren't, you know, go back to what you said, we weren't really in control of our destiny. You kind of, you lose some of those division games and you're kind of hoping, like, all right, well, you know, I hope this team and this team and this team, you know, fall off, so then therefore we can have a spot. But we're so far in control of our own destiny. We've done everything that we could, and you know, you can't be any better than 5-0 right now. You know, win or loss or how ugly or pretty they are, you know, we're 5-0 and still in control in the driver's seat of our own destiny.
Tyler, what do you remember about that Boston College offense from a couple of years ago? I know that first half they kind of had you guys on your heels before you were able to kind of recover and come back a little bit.
2020,
2020.
Yeah. I think they kind of controlled the line of scrimmage defensively. They got some punch off the ball. They had a solid run game going, and they max pro'd up a lot. I remember that. A lot of cross-country routes. You know, the quarterback's very accurate, very comfortable in his system, and you know, I think in order for us to kind of make sure that doesn't happen again, like in 2020, we got to dominate the line of scrimmage, like we did in the NC State game. They did a great job, and then you know, just communications and zone coverage and man coverage, and knowing responsibilities. You know, who's got the post, got the air, whatnot. You know, kind of seeing the picture as a whole, not getting too locked up in the run game from a safety and corner perspective, because they do a lot of play action.
So you talked about some of those young players going through the fire. I mean, do you yourself go to some of those young DBs and try to give them confidence, or what do you do in the moment?
Like in the moment when, you know, something bad happens,
Yeah.
you know, you try to not really even focus on it, you know, because the moment you don't want to go and point it out to them too much, because they've already got guys coming up to them saying, hey man, it's all right, you know, it's okay. You know, they don't want to keep hearing that, you know, so you give it to them a little bit, you pull them aside away from, you know, the unit when we're on the sideline. You don't want to do it in front of everybody. I'm like, look man, that happens, that's part of the game. Like, that's why we do what we do, and that's why we compete at such a high level. You know, because you're going to lose some one-on-ones. You're going to lose some of those plays. That's just being in the arena. That's how it's going to be. But just continuing to build up and letting them see the positive in, you know, losing that rep. It's like, all right, well, now you know not to do that again, and you're going to make sure you don't do it again, because the stove's hot. It's like, you just touched it. and you're going to be very intentional in making sure you don't touch it again.
I guess, do you see a different level of confidence and more, sticking to the technique last week for some of those younger guys when you go back and look at the film?
Yeah, I think we just looked a little bit more savvy, just disguising stuff and moving around, just guys getting more comfortable, and that just comes through game repetition, being under the lights.
Any questions for Tyler from Zoom?
Go ahead, Matt. Yeah, I was just gonna follow up on Pete's question from earlier. I was just wondering, like, during the season, do your dad still talk a lot, talk all the time? And if so, is that talking football? Is it talking life? What's it kind of like? What's y'all's relationship like now?
Yeah, we do a good bit of FaceTiming, or try to. Our schedules are pretty similar, so we have windows at the same time pretty much, but we're just so busy. It's like tonight we're gonna be done at 9:30, 10 o'clock. So trying to find those windows where we can, and then not really talking football. We don't talk football anymore. If I have a question, I'll still ask him, what he thinks about this, or how I should play something in a certain coverage or whatever. We just, how's class going? How's your life? What are you doing? Stuff like that. I'm trying to stay away from football. It's just so chaotic.
Thank you. You drove my question, Matt. Thanks, Tyler.
Hey, Tyler, John Profiler with the state. Specific to those young guys, what did you see from Sherrod Kugel in the state game, and how's he kind of grown, in your opinion, in that safety room?
Yeah, Sherrod likes to hit people, I would say. He comes downhill. He's definitely one of the faster guys back there in the back seven as a whole. And he's not afraid to come downhill. But he's just a young guy. He only knows what he knows so far, and what he's already done with the limited knowledge that he has through the repetitions that he's got. Just shows how high his ceiling is going to be and how great of a player he will be.
Is the foot okay?
Yeah, it was, there's this girl in my class, and so I didn't know what to say to her, so I thought this would be a good conversation. No, it's, I just, yeah. Just kidding.
Thanks, Steve-O.
Appreciate you guys.